Playing the long game means avoiding instant gratification and focusing on building a foundation that will better serve everyone in the future. Our Angelina Award recipients certainly have been closely following the long game strategy. Every plan, every building, every community connection, and every animal encounter further ensured the success of our county's most popular and endearing asset. Who would have thought that a duo in their 20s would move to Lufkin in 1976 for a job and not only continue to serve in that leadership capacity for 47 years, but also become so ingrained that their names are synonymous with where they work?
I think the reason why they selected my dad to be the director here at the zoo was because they saw the potential in him, and the creativity, the drive, the hard work ethic, and his extreme knowledge of animals. And also the fact that he was married to somebody that was also brilliant and who had worked with animals all her life and was working in zoos as well. And they saw it as being a perfect fit.
Yes, Lufkin got a 2-for-1 deal in one hire, but only time would show just how much the two would bring, not only to the entity, but also their family, staff, the entire community, and zoos around the world.
Their longevity is probably because of the fact that they're pretty easygoing. They are not somebody that's going to bounce around. I think they came here 47 years ago to build a zoo in a small town, and I think they've done a really, really awesome job of doing that.
Our award recipients lived for and loved animals well before they came to Lufkin. In an interview with the Diboll History Center, Gordon described an outing to the Memphis Zoo he took with his father. He said, "While we were looking at the elephants, one of them took a snout full of water and gave us a shower, so I told myself that was what I had to do." Both Gordon and Charlotte's world revolved around animals. He graduated from Central State University in Oklahoma, and his first job was a zookeeper at Tulsa Zoo. He moved up quickly to associate curator of herpetology and took over the bird collection as well. Charlotte, who earned a degree in zoology from Oklahoma State University, was a docent and volunteer educator at the Tulsa Zoo, and that is where the two met. Less than a year after they were married, the two moved to Lufkin. Gordon served as zoo director, and Charlotte began as a volunteer. However, after implementing education programs and bringing school and community awareness to the zoo, city officials could not help but realize the immense value she brought to the zoo. In her 4th year, she became a full-time employee and continued to grow the education programs and put into place the quality programs that continue to this day, including Zoo Tots, Zoo Safari, Junior Zookeeper, teacher programs, and school visits, just to name a few. When the two arrived in Lufkin, the zoo had about 120 animals, including genets, meerkats, hornbills, bobcats, and of course a hippopotamus, along with 6 full-time employees. They worked with a budget of about $50,000. In comparison today, there are approximately 900 animals in the zoo's collection, 25 employees. It operates on 15 acres with a budget of more than $1 million and hosts an average of 150,000 visitors a year.
I'd just like to say that it's been really enjoyable working with Gordon and Charlotte and being on the board of directors and seeing the growth that we've had at the zoo. And hopefully, I know that we will continue that growth.
While the two grew the zoo, they also raised a family. Their children, Jennifer and Brian, are very much like their parents. Animals and conservation are a large part of their lives. Brian is in the herpetology department at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, and Jennifer teaches science and is heavily involved in the zoo as president of the Friends of Ellen Trout Zoo Board.
With my parents being so active at the zoo, things didn't stop at 5 o'clock at the zoo. So, we lived there, like we have a house there. At 5 o'clock, sometimes we would be out in the zoo still doing stuff. And so I can remember when my parents were working on the jaguar exhibit. when the big cat facility was being built. Brian and I would actually go out and go swimming in the pools. And while my parents were sitting there like with pictures, and they were like literally carving the Mayan carvings into that facade. So when you see that facade at the zoo now, my parents literally carved that after 5 o'clock every day. In 7th grade, when I went to school, I got dropped off in the zoo van because that was that's what my parents were going to work to go do something after they dropped us off. So that zoo van pulled up at Dunbar, and it was painted with lions on the side, said, "Follow me to the Ellen Trout Zoo." And I would get out, and then I would have all these people, asking me about, why do you get dropped off in the zoo van? And it turns out even my future husband was one of those people who was sitting there asking that question, because he told me later on when we met again in high school, he was like, "Oh yeah, I always used to wonder why you got dropped off in the zoo van."
The zoo garnered national attention in May 1979 when Lillian Carter, mother of then President Jimmy Carter, helped Gordon break ground on the new bald eagle exhibit. She was escorted by Congressman Charlie Wilson and Mayor Pitzer Garrison. The Henleys earned the zoo's first national accreditation from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums in 1983. Ellen Trout Zoo was the 5th zoo in Texas to be accredited and only one of 40 in the country. The zoo has been reaccredited every time they have reapplied. The couple also brought the conservation spotlight to our zoo, participating in the Species Survival Plan by breeding Louisiana pine snakes and meeting with and developing partnerships with other zoos and organizations to enhance conservation efforts. Tonight, we say thank you to that couple who taught us all about life on the wild side.